know, I go to Walmart before I announce every year. I have for the last 10 years. And I wrote to Obama when he was elected. I wrote to him 5 days after he was elected. Dear Mr. President-elect, I say the same thing to you that Sam Rayburn and Lyndon Johnson and Wright Patman said to General Eisenhower when he was elected. You're not of our party. My district didn't vote for you. My state didn't vote for you, but you're elected president. And I say the same thing to you that they said. I'm going to do my best to help you be a good president. I said, I'm the Dean of the United States House of Representatives. It doesn't mean I'm the smartest or the prettiest, but I, by golly, am the oldest, and I've been there longer than any of them. And I am going to try to work with you. Well, I voted 8 straight times against the bailout, no, on the bailout. I hadn't seen him until about 3 weeks ago, and I saw him. He had all of us over there who were ranking leaders over in the House, in the House, as Republicans, and all of the chairmen. You got to be a chairman, Democrat to be a chairman now. All of us over there together, and I shook hands with him. He said, well, I got your letter. I said, and I received your letter back, and I appreciated it. He said, I thought you were going to help me. I said, well, you wouldn't listen to me. That didn't sit too well with him, but he was courteous, and he gives me the impression that he believes what he's doing is going to work. But I don't think he has any idea of the consequences of failure, for one, or the aftermath of taxes, for another, and the latching up of generation after generation of young people with dreadful taxes that can pull us down to a third-grade nation, second to China and second to others when we've always been first. Those are things that I fear, and those are things now that I think about that I never considered from the time in 1959 when I entered my first political race, that I'd worry about the country and worry about what was going to happen to the country and worry about my little grandchildren and children still not yet born. So those are things we have to think about. We got China sitting down there at the Panama Canal that Jimmy Carter gave them. And they're there, and they're telling us global warming, we're not going to pay a dime on global warming. That's ridiculous. You all are going to pay for our global warming because you're not going to have any industries then, and you're going to have to buy from us. You ought to have to protect us. And now that's the gall that China has, and they've told us that. China won't pay, Russia won't pay, India won't pay, Mexico won't pay. It goes on down the line that they're not going to. And yet those people up there have a bill. They passed a bill to do a lot of things to global warming. I believe God controls global warming, 95%. And maybe 5% we'd have some effect on it. If we spent all the money in the world on it, we might have effect of maybe 4 or 5%. I think that's the most. And, you know, we had global freezing about, 12 or 14 years ago, and these same guys were up there testifying that the ice was going to fall off and the water was going to be halfway up on Statue of Liberty, and it's just all chaos was going to come. Finally, they came, they were just laughed out of the Capitol, and they left. That was global freezing or global flooding. Now they come back with global warming, and it's the same thing. And that's what they want cap and trade also for, to pay for global warming, pay for all the money that we're going to have to spend for it. Well, I voted hard against that, but I thank you. But it doesn't make sense. How much time do I have? Well, let me tell you just a story about how it works up there, because I wish you could come up and go with me just and make the rounds with me day after day and see what we get to do and what we can do and what we ought to do. And but I was on the Energy and Commerce Committee, and they were testifying for global warming. We had to do it now. We couldn't wait. And it's just the worst thing in the world. Of course we have to watch out for carbon. And of course we have fossil fuels. And of course they spawn carbon. And of course it's dangerous to us. We've got to address that. We've done that. It's not like the mud fields of Kilgore in the 30s there. We have up-to-date modern petroleum, issue of petroleum, and we can't do without it. We can't do without our own energy and commerce from fossil fuels, and we buy 64% of all the energy we use from a dang country that hates us and doesn't like us and doesn't trust us. And we send them billions of dollars when we have plenty of fossil fuels right here within our own boundary to furnish all that if we could but pass it. And we can't pass it because environmentalists won't let us. Now, I'm an environmentalist. I like clean water and clean air. Henry Waxman, the guy that's chairman now, sent up a resolution when I was trying to write the Clean Air Act, or help them write the Clean Air Act. That's a four-handed job. A lot of people have to work on a thing that big. He sent up that he'd run a test in California, and 80% of the people were for clean air. Ain't that a great percentage? 80% of them. I couldn't believe it. He'd offer that into evidence. But that's the guy that's the chairman now that we're all having to listen to. So those are some of the things. But we had these 6 guys there, and I had the right to cross-examine them. Ed Markey was the chairman. I said, Ed, you got 6 people there. I've got 5 minutes. Give me a minute apiece for them. I want to ask them to say what they want to say for 1 minute, each of them. And then give me a couple of minutes to ask them. And I asked unanimous consent, and he granted it. I said, each of you, I'm going to give you a minute. Tell me everything you know and the highlights and the major parts of global warming. Just like that. Well, the first one thought about it, and he got into his spiel, and he went through his 1 minute. The other one did the same thing. All 6 of them did the same thing. And none of them mentioned the most important part. I said, how many of you have ever been to Walmart? Well, 4 of them had. I said, did you buy anything? 3 of them had. I said, did you notice anything after you bought it? And I had a girl that works for me sitting right behind me, and she's my energy advisor. And she always tells me not to be mean. And these people make you mean. You know, they're dishonest when they come and testify the things they testify to when they know better. I said, when you bought it and started to go out of the store, did you notice anything different? No, they none of them. Did you notice anything significant? No, they didn't. Did you notice anything that you probably should have told me about here? No, they didn't. All right, I've got my dictionary here. Now, y'all, I want to read you to. So I got it, and I read them what a cash register was. And it's tall, about yay tall. It's where you pay for goods that you bought. Now, y'all have just bought some goods, so you have to pay for them. Isn't that true? Yes. Why didn't you mention the cost of global warming? Why didn't you mention who was going to pay? Why didn't you mention that China has said absolutely not, they're not going to pay anything, and all the other countries are not going to pay anything? Why would you not tell that? Is that not important? I read them some more dictionary about that, and they just dropped their heads. They didn't say anything. And going back, I thought I'd done such a super good job. I really thought I'd embarrassed them. And going out, I asked this girl, she's a lot younger than I am. She's worked for me since she stepped off the stage at University of Texas, worked her way through there. She'd gone through high school at Rockwall. I knew her folks. She's a wonderful girl, very bright, brilliant lady, actually, on energy. And I wanted a little bragging on myself, you know. I said, well, how'd I do, Elizabeth? She said, well, you sounded old to me. That's the thanks I got for what I thought was just a super job. But you have to take them on every way you can because they're in charge, and all that's of record. And people will be reading that. It's in the Congressional record. You can get copies of things like that. We just have to do the best we can. But I'm thankful for a district like you that supports a guy like me that's doing his very best and losing. I don't like to lose. I'm accustomed to maybe running in there and winning first, and there's nothing in politics for showing or placing. And you've always helped me. And I go to Walmart every year to see if they want to hire me before I announce again. And I'm 86. Bush gave me a party when I was 85, said I didn't look a day over 90. I said, I got 4 things to be thankful for. He said, what's that? I said, September, October, November, December, and your little rear will be out of here. But I didn't mean it. I'm crazy about him. But it's a tough go up there, and we know that we're going to get beat when it comes up. We just have to do our very best And thank you for backing us. Thank you for supporting. I've called on a lot of you for information that we needed. I think things are going to turn around. They could turn around in the Senate, but we won't know. Won't know for some time. It's a tough go, but it's worth fighting for, because it's worth fighting for our youngsters and little guys that are going to have something thrust upon them that they have no idea of what to do with it or how to handle it. We've got to protect them. I hope it crashes and burns before Christmas, to where we can deal with it and deal with it there and then.